Hello, my darlings, and here we are at the end of our book. That didn't take long, did it? So we've got one chapter left, this one, and then we'll have to find something different to read. But don't worry, I know what we're doing, she said. Fingers crossed. I have an idea. So chapter 11, The Return of Ulysses. When it began to grow dark, they all assembled in Rat's parlour, and Rat gave each one his sword. But Badger just laughed good-humouredly. "I'm going to do all I've got to do with this here stick," he said. So Badger doesn't think you need to use a sword, you can do it with a stick. When they were ready, Badger took a lantern and led them along by the river, and then into a hole in the river bank. Mole and Rat followed silently, but when it came to Toad's turn, of course, he managed to slip and fall into the water. He was hauled out by his friends, but Badger was very cross. Poor Toad. A little while later they were creeping along the secret passage, which was dark and cold and damp. Toad was hurrying to keep up with the other animals when he bumped into Rat, who bumped into Mole, who fell over. Badger thought they were being attacked from behind and was very nearly got by Toad. After that, Rat kept a firm grip on Toad's shoulder to keep him out of trouble, and so they groped and shuffled along the secret passage until they came to a trapdoor. Badger said, "Now boys, all together." They found themselves in the pantry with only a door between them and the banqueting hall. They've made it inside. They could hear the weasels cheering and singing. Badger cried, "Follow me!" and he flung the door open wide. My! What a squealing and a squawking and a screeching filled the air. We know a song about weasels, don't we? Maybe. Mole had gone outside to deal with the sentries. "It's all over," he reported back. They had been expecting an attack from outside, but as soon as they heard the shrieks and yells inside the hall, they fled. They've all disappeared by now. And so the four friends sat down to a great supper of chicken and jelly and trifle. Next day Badger told Toad that he must hold a banquet to celebrate, and that he should write the invitations himself. While the others were out, Toad did as he was told, but he also included a programme for the banquet. This was to be full of boastful speeches and songs by Toad, all about Toad. He gave the letters to one of the weasels to post. At last the hour of the banquet began to draw near, and while Toad was still making a speech to his empty bedroom, the first of the animals began to arrive. Look at them all in their smart suits. They were all dressed up in their best suits. Upstairs, Toad finished off his speech with a flourish and a bow to the vacant chairs. Then he heaved a deep sigh, a long, long sigh. Then he straightened his bow tie, adjusted his jacket, and then put a gracefully modest expression on his face. He went downstairs to welcome all the guests to the banquet. The animals cheered when he entered and congratulated him, but Toad only smiled faintly and murmured, "Not at all." He was indeed an altered Toad. After all this excitement, the four animals continued to be friends. They would often take a stroll together in the wild wood, and it was pleasing to see how the mother weasels would bring out their young ones and point them out. "There goes the great Mr. Toad, and the gallant water rat, and the famous Mr. Mole," they would say. And when their children were naughty, they would tell them that the terrible grey Badger would come and get them if they didn't behave themselves. Which was a little unfair on Badger, because he was rather fond of children, but it never failed. And there they are. And that is the very end of the book. I hope you've enjoyed this little series of the story. It's been lovely reading to you, and like I say, there'll be another one to start tomorrow for you. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and enjoy yourselves whatever you do. Goodbye, guys.